to this project today. Today I'm gonna get in there and grease my rack and pinion under the suspicion that a repair job that I did on it a while back, which ended up using zip ties, was not good enough for the fact that my rack and pinion and everything under my video was submerged during our recent rains, and my street area where I live was flooded out, pretty much a mile's worth of street floods. And I suspect that what ended up happening was water's gotten in here. So, if you're not following this in the series, I'll just let you hear what's going on. So I'm gonna lay my phone down on the ground. I'm gonna have a little bit of a bad video, but you'll be able to hear what's going on. Alright, this is sort of sad. Alright, so that's the sound that I'm gonna try to do some work on by greasing this. I'm basically gonna pop a jack under here, lift it up just so I can get better access. I'm not even gonna take off my wheel or anything. I can get under here, I just need a little bit more height. So that's step one. Alright, so I've got my jack under the jack groove placement set. I'm gonna put a stand under here to secure it. That should be enough space for me to work in to access what I need. Alright, so now I've got my support in place. Got the unit where I need it. Gonna get up in here. Let's see if I can shed a little. Shed a little light on this area. You can see it barely sticking out. I know it's a little blurry. Right up in here is where my little zip tie is, so I'm gonna get up in there and snap that off. Alright, definitely got to show you this. So as I pulled this apart, guess what came out? I don't know if you can see it. Water drops. So I think my suspicion was correct. Water has gotten up in here, and that's interfering with the grease, and that's giving me my sliding issue, as well as, look at this. Is that a gasket or something? Wow, that's all shredded. So that's definitely what's going on here. Let's get some light on the subject. Alright, so now with a little light on the subject, we can definitely see what's going on in here. So it looks like I've got a fault. That to me looks like a seal. You can see water dripping off of that seal. I can see rust on there. Yep. So this is why I think I'm failing. Oh yeah. Alright, now the question is, does that seal supposed to be in here? I'm kind of thinking so. But definitely when I opened up, there was water inside. So, can I see that from underneath? You can see that water dripped out. So the goal now, I've got my teeth here. Sorry, hard to get that angle. And see, it's a little contaminated. So I'm gonna get my air can and see if I can back blow out some of this water. And then I'm gonna try to grease it. It would seem like, because of this being sealed, this little rubber gasket is not a lot. So I'm gonna just try to see if it'll work. Oh, sorry about that, dropped it. Sorry guys, I dropped you. Anyway, so I'm gonna see if I can get it to seal up with what's left of this. Otherwise, I know I am gonna end up having to buy another rack, huh? But my suspicion was right, but the extra is I've got this shredded seal. Wow, that kind of sucks. I wonder if I can order that seal. Alright, so now I'm just gonna dry it off, get as much of this water out as possible, and grease it, and hope that solves my issue, or at least helps it to last a little bit longer before it fails. I'm gonna check the other side too and see what's going on. But yep, definitely found the suspect. I was right. Water got inside of there, and that's what's going on. As well as this failed, what looks like seal. Looks like I may have to get another rack. I don't like that fact, but at the same time, you know what the positive side of it is? Now that I know what's messed up, I feel more confident in spending the money for the rack, because you know how you hate to repair something, spend money, spend time to put it in, pop it in, and your problem's still existent? Well, with this evidence, I'm confident that this truly is my problem. It's not my steering, it's not anything electronic per se, it's the steering rack, which we see we have a double fail. Fail 1, water's inside. Fail 2, messed up gasket. Alright, so let's see what it sounds like after I get this greased up. Alright, so I've dried it up a lot, taken off that excess gasket rubber. As I pulled the boot back, more water came out. You can see that's really kind of rusty. Definitely a suspect. You can also see the drip coming down from there still. So there was a good amount of water, I'm gonna say, left in it. Who knows how much water was actually in there beforehand. So like I said, this is definitely something that would make me want to think that there's water inside of there, and I'm not going to be able to get that out. It's so sad that they don't make these things rebuildable. I guess because it's new, companies want to make the money selling a whole new part, but I mean, it wouldn't be that hard in theory to take this assembly apart, pull out the rack and pinion portion, dry it all up, replace any gaskets or seals that need to be replaced as a rebuild kit, and bang, you're back on the road. But you know, dealership wants to get $1,400 for this piece, so it is what it is. Anyway, I'm gonna grease this up. I'm gonna put a clamp on it. These are my old clamps, and let's see what we get out of it, right? Alright, next you'll see it all greased up. Alright, so I've got my silicone grease on it. Let me show you where the gears are. I'm going to get a picture from the top. So the gears are there. So the goal is to get that grease on these gears so that if there's any oil left in the system, excuse me, any water contamination in the system. Hopefully this grease will displace it. So I'm gonna finish pushing that up in there and see if I can get a nice saturation across all my gears. And then I'm gonna rotate it left and right a couple of times to make sure I get a nice good lube, and then I'm gonna seal it up. So you can see where my gears are. That's what I've got so far. I'm gonna reach in there the best I can and see if I can get that grease a little deeper in there as well. Alright, so I've got it greased pretty well, going all the way through. It's still making kind of that grinding sound, which means that damage could be inside with water on that piece. But like I said, that's going to bring me back to needing to get a whole nother unit, because there's definitely that seal was the issue, and that seal is what I'm afraid is something that is the deal killer as far as a repairable with simple grease. So I'm gonna go ahead and clamp this up. But I guess this video wasn't successful in the sense that it would be a greasing and fix. It's more of a success in the way of a diagnosis, because after we got that boot off, it definitely showed the water that came out of it rusted. Definitely showed a messed up seal, which makes me feel more confident in spending the $700 to $900 for a remanufactured unit. I'm definitely not going to buy a new one. Tax refund is in, but that tax refund is kind of earmarked for getting some other work done on the car, such as, I don't know, repairing my doors. But anyway, I'm going to call that it. I'm going to wrap this up by putting that seal in there as far as I can, so it'll just kind of hold on. Put my boot back in place and clamp it down with my giant ring clamps to get a more secure setup, and hope for the best. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope this hasn't wasted your time, but at least I hope it has given some good information onto what was going on with mine, and who knows, maybe this was similar with yours, and my process gets you inspired to check yours out before you just send it off to a mechanic, just to make sure that you feel confident in any, we'll call it, expensive purchases and repairs that you would have to make, knowing or having a better feel that that repair is actually going to solve the issue. Alright, so I've put it back together. I've got a nice clamp on it, so that should hold it securely. So the sound it's still making, still just as loud as before, so I think there is internal damage. How's it going, Dave? Good, good. Internal damage in there because of the water going in and that seal. Might be a combination, mostly because of that seal, but secondarily because of the water getting there because of driving through the flooded areas. So this might last a little while, this might last a long while, but I'm confident in go ahead and get another rack and pinion and put on this, mainly because of that seal being an issue. I don't know how important that part is, but I would think it prevents any water and other contaminants from getting inside, and since water is evidence that's going inside, eventually that's going to rust and corrode, and that's just going to make things worse inside eventually. So I'd rather do it now while I have the extra funds, instead of waiting and being stuck somewhere and having to pay a tow truck and who knows what else just to get it to a shop and end up with something worse. Alright guys, thanks for watching.